This is a video on ANOVA. The question states, a study was done to determine if the average amount spent on textbooks per student is the same for LTCC, Sac City College, Solano College, and De Anza College. What can be concluded at the 0.05 level of significance? So here's the data, and notice that there were 4 students each for LTCC, Sac City, Solano, and De Anza, and we have the amount they spent on books. I want to perform an ANOVA test, so for the null hypothesis on ANOVA, that means all of the means are the same. So in particular, H naught is that mu1 equals mu2 equals mu3 equals mu4. And the alternative hypothesis is the opposite, which means at least 2 of the means are different from each other. So in order to perform an ANOVA test, I will use a calculator. So here's the calculator. For ANOVA, I need to first put in my data, so I go to Stat, and then Edit, and I need to clear out the 4 lists, L1, L2, L3, L4, because I have 4 different colleges with data. So let's clear them out. Okay, I've cleared my data. Now I enter my data. For L1, I'll put the LTCC data for money spent on books, which is 248. Enter. And then I put in the rest. And for L2, that's the Sac City data. So that's 292. Enter. And I put in the rest for Sac City. For L3, I put in the Solano data. That's 164. Enter. And then I put in the rest. And then finally, let's put in the De Anza data. So that's 106. Enter. And the rest. And finally, 162. Okay, now that I have all my data entered, let's go to the ANOVA test. So I use Stat, and then Tests, and I'm going to go to the up arrow, and the very last item is ANOVA. So I hit Enter on ANOVA. And then I need to tell it that I'm looking at L1, L2, L3, and L4 for my 4 lists. So second, L1, comma, second, L2, comma, second, L3, comma, and second, L4, I end the parentheses and hit Enter. Okay, so here is my F statistic, which is 1.65 about, and the p-value, which is about 0.229698, etc. And that's the important thing, is the p-value. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. So here's the PowerPoint, and our p-value was about 0.2297, and that's greater than the level of significance, 0.05, which is alpha. When the p-value is greater than the level of significance, that means we fail to reject the null hypothesis. So the statement is that there is insufficient evidence to conclude that there is a difference between the mean book expenditures at the 4 community colleges. So I'm done concluding, but let's look at the requirements that we need in order to perform an ANOVA test. The first one is that the distribution at each college must be normal. The second is that the standard deviations are the same at all 4 colleges. And the third is that the samples are randomly taken and independent from each other. Okay, these assumptions may or may not be true, but if they're true, then we can go ahead and perform an ANOVA test. and I'm done with the problem.